Here are the instructions to my hat box for St. Patrick's Day. It's very similar to my Easter Bunny hat, but this one's a little bit bigger. I'm going to start with these pieces. I've already completed one. I have my base piece, which is black, and I'm just folding down on all the score lines. And then I'm going to grab my decorative pieces. Now, my decorative pieces are foiled on one side, but they're brown on the other. So what I've done is I've just ran my green marker along the edges of my foiled paper. That way the edges look a little bit more finished. They are narrower at the bottom than they are at the top. So I'm going to place these so that they're centered, have an even border around each panel. And I'm just going to glue them down like so. So next we're going to work on this piece, the base into which my box fits. So we're just going to fold down on all the score lines. The first one being this little triangle in between the two extensions. And then the score line on the exterior, and then the score line closer to the center. And you just want to keep folding that all the way around for those 8 extensions. This is the right side, or the external part of this piece. I'm applying these decorative pieces to this base piece. The top is slightly wider than the bottom, and that's how you want to place it on your base piece. You want to make sure that the narrower edge is closer to the center of your piece. So I'm just going to glue them down. So once you've glued on all those panels, you're going to assemble your base. Put glue on this triangle that's between your 2 green squares. You just want to bring up the cut edge of one side to the score line of the next, like so. And then you're going to do that with the next one, the same thing. Just put glue all over that triangle, and then tuck it underneath that panel and bring the cut line of this one to the score line of the one beside it. And you're just going to keep going all the way around until you've done all 8 of them. Now that I've glued together all 8 sides, I'm going to temporarily fold back these flaps, and then just choosing any one of them, I'm just going to put glue on the flap and then turn it inwards onto the inside of my box. So I'm taking my bone folder and I'm just going in there and I'm spreading my glue. And I'm going to do that for all 8 of those flaps. Next, I'm just gluing the 3 layers of my brim together, making sure that the piece with the score lines is visible. So I've just put glue on the base of my octagon, and I've used those score lines as my guide to glue it down on the center of my brim of my hat. So next we're going to work on the top of the hat. It has these tabs on all sides. You just have to fold down on those score lines, and then there's a decorative piece that fits in the center between those score lines, and you need to glue that down. And then next we'll go back to our side pieces that we decorated. I'm just going to put glue on the tab that's on the side, and then I'm going to connect these 2 pieces at that tab, and I'm just going to slide the cut edge of that piece and make sure it's right along the score line of the tab. So now I'm going to take my top piece and I'm going to put glue on one of those tabs. I'm going to adhere that tab to one of the central pieces. So I want to make sure that the edge of this piece is right against the score line, and I'm going to do that with the next piece as well. I'm just putting glue along the tab and then bending it so that that score line is meeting up with the cut line of the edge, or the edge of this piece. I'm just working my way all the way around doing the exact same thing. I'm just going to keep going, gluing them down, but I'm going to leave the first panel and the last panel to the very end. I'm down to the last 2 panels. I'm going to glue the one with the tab down. I'm going to glue it down first. So I'm just putting glue on the tab that's on the top of my hat. As I did for the others, I'm gluing my edge piece down to that tab, I'm putting glue along the tab on the side and the tab at the top, and I've got my last piece to adhere. Push that into place. I've got my hand inside and I'm applying pressure to the corner there just to make sure that the tab is exactly where it needs to be. Then I'm temporarily going to fold these pieces to the exterior, and I'm going to lay my piece on its side and put some glue on any tab, it doesn't matter which one, and just fold it towards the inside like so. Then I'm going to go in with my bone folder and I'm just going to spread that glue. And I'm going to do that all the way around for all 8 of those tabs. So now that I've assembled the hat, I'll be decorating the base of my box. So this piece here, this is Cricut foil poster board and the back of it is white. I've taken a Cricut gold pen and I've just colored the edges, and I have the wrong side facing me so that when I slip, it goes onto the wrong side and not on the part that's going to be showing. Next, each one of these gold pieces gets glued down to a black piece. Now keep in mind that the gold pieces are slightly tapered. They're wider on the top than they are on the bottom, and so are the black pieces, so make sure you're matching them up properly. You have 7 of them that you want to glue down to the base pieces, and one of them is left blank. So now that I've glued those pieces together, I'm just going to take each one of them and I'm going to glue it up to right at the top of this piece. A little bit wider at the top than at the bottom, so you want to have the widest edge at the top. And I'm going to start with the side, and it should match exactly the piece that's underneath it. And I'm going to glue those all the way around with the exception of the very front of my box. So I'm going to leave this one blank, but all the other ones are going to get an extra layer like so. So now that I've covered all my panels with those decorative pieces, I'm going to take my buckle. I just want to add a little bit of foam tape in the center. Now this is very, very thin foam tape. So it's not very thick at all. So I have 2 layers of foam tape. I've just put them in the center, not all the way to the top. And I'm going to take my black piece and I'm going to thread it through, and then I'm going to make sure there's enough on both sides to glue it down. And then I'm going to put the second layer on top. This is just to make it look a little more substantial. And then I'm going to glue my buckle just to the front like so. So I'm putting glue all over the surface and put some underneath as well. Make sure I glue those black pieces down, and then you want to put it just from the black pieces and then all the way down to the bottom, and just glue it so that it's central. So then when you put your lid on, it looks like so. I've cut my coins out of Cricut foil poster board, and I have used the debossing tool to put the 4-leaf clover. So what I've done is I've cut out 2 of them and just glued them together, and I've also, as I did before, I finished the edges so that you can't see the white once they're glued together. So I cut out the glitter shamrock image in green with a black offset layer. Okay, well, you'll be able to see in the final pictures what I finally decide on, but I'm just going to glue down my embellishments and my hat is done.